Today we're talking about writing code that doesn't make you want to quit your job 6 months from now. You know exactly what I mean. You shipped it fast, you passed CI, and now it's back haunting you. Some devs level up, others just maintain their own garbage forever. The difference? They write code for humans, not just machines. You might be great at solving problems, but does your code make sense when someone else reads it? Or even you 3 months from now? This skill, writing maintainable code, it's what turns decent developers into essential ones. I've been at this since '84. I've seen code that made me question my life choices, and code that aged like fine wine. The messy stuff, it always breaks the same way. And the good stuff, it nails 3 things. So today I'm going to walk you through those 3 pillars: clarity, testability, and context, and show you how to actually use them without losing your mind. I'm Karel. I'm a retired CTO. Now I help devs write code that won't betray them. Touching. A redemption arc for spaghetti coders. Let's all hold hands and name our variables properly. Before we dive in, there's one mindset shift that changes everything. You're not writing for the CPU. You're writing for the human who has to fix this mess at 2 a.m. during a fire on a weekend. And spoiler, that human is usually you. A flashback. It's 95. I'm programming in some obscure proprietary language. Now, here's the thing. These files, the source files, they're limited by size. So in some of these files, we can write code that's perfectly fine and understandable. But in other of those files, we're in such constraint for the file size that some people that are probably much more intelligent than me, they started naming their variables A, B, C. I mean, we're talking about single or double characters because they are literally trying to hunt and find bytes inside the file size so they can basically ship code. Try to imagine how readable and maintainable that code must have been. This is the shift that makes everyone else click. When you start coding for humans, you get fewer bugs, less frictions, and way less burnout. Humans writing code for humans. A beautiful cycle of mediocrity, powered by caffeine and regret. Let me be clear. Writing maintainable isn't some mystical art. It's not a personality trait. Most devs still treat it like it is. Like you'll magically get better at it one day. Or worse, they think it just slows you down. That mindset, that's how you end up spending months cleaning up something you built in days. Bad systems break the same way. Confusing names, untestable logic, and code that ignores the real-world context it runs in. The old systems, they're not fancy. They're just consistent. And they follow 3 core principles: clarity for your future self, testability for your sanity, context for your team. Yes, build for the squishy meat hands who will inevitably ruin it anyways. Wonderful strategy. Let's start with clarity. And here's the rule. If you can't understand your own code after 6 months, it's bad. I don't care if it was clever. Clever breaks. Clear survives. Let's break this down. Layer 1, naming that tells stories. Bad, get data. Good, fetch user preferences from cache. Use names that actually say what the thing does, not what you meant at the time. Write it like a sentence your teammate won't misread. When I started my career, anytime I had a counter, just like my teacher used to tell me, to keep things very simple in the examples, we used to use I for a counter in a for loop. But then you start to misuse I, and then you use J, and you use K, and you use L, and then you read your code and you're like, so what did K actually represent? What did L represent? And what the hell is J? Does that sound like good variable naming? Layer 2, function design. 1 job per function, predictable inputs and outputs. If you can't explain what it does in 1 sentence, split it. I used to write functions that had everything in them. Not only do I make a database call in the function and send an email, but I have all the plumbing of making the database call and connecting to the SMTP server. That's absolutely crazy. Layer 3, comments that actually help. Don't explain what the code is doing. We can read it. Explain why you made that weird decision. Business logic, edge cases, trade-offs. I remember I was reading this piece of code. There was a comment. The comment did not make any sense whatsoever. So me and my lead architect, we actually go back like years back into the Git repo. And we finally see that that comment was there since day one, but the function changed so many times, since then. It doesn't even apply anymore, which is really unfortunate because now we have this comment that's been sitting there for years, but it hasn't been relevant for almost a decade. What a bold concept, writing things humans can actually follow. Maybe next time we'll invent doors that open. Pillar 2, testability. And here's the mistake. Most devs try to add tests to untestable code instead of writing testable code in the first place. That's kind of backwards. Here's how to fix it. Component 1, dependency injection. Don't hardcode stuff. Pass in what the code needs, like config or services. That's what makes mocking and testing possible. In the early 2000s, I actually started using TDD. I would say the way that it should have been used, but I was going red-green most of the time. Sometimes I just go for green, but whatever. There were these objects that I absolutely could not test because, as I said before, I was really good at putting multiple things in one function, including the plumbing. So how do you test something that has all the plumbing for a database connection, makes the connection and actually modifies record, and then at the same time sends an email? Well, you can't mock it, you can't switch it out, but you need to test a function. So it's kind of bad, no? And it's definitely not testable. Component 2, pure functions when possible. Same input, same output, no side effects. Super easy to test, super hard to mess up. There comes a time when you realize that if you always put in the same input, you should get the same output. But when you're dependent on data for this to happen, then becomes a bit of a problem. So if you take your pure functions and you test that, you make sure that 1 + 1 always equals 2, you're good. And if you depend on data, then make your data 1 and 1. And then you know that it always equals 2. If you have to test it like that, then control the input so you can verify the output. Component 3, test behavior, not internals. Don't test how it works. Test what it does. Focus on inputs and outputs. Then you can refactor without breaking everything. When your code is testable, you sleep better. And when you sleep better, you ship better. How charming. Writing testable code instead of just hoping for the best. You humans really are evolving. Pillar 3, context. The one nobody talks about. This is where great devs shine. Layer 1, environmental awareness. Hard coding paths or API keys. Please stop. Use config. Make your code play nice across dev, staging, and prod. It doesn't take rocket science to figure out this one. Anything that you hard code in your code base, if it's going to change when it goes to test and when it goes to prod, you're going to have to hunt it down later. And believe me, that ain't funny. The day before you have to ship, the day of the deadline, that you have to find all these damn things. Now here's a test. Make sure you ship the stage on a regular basis. Daily if you can. Weekly if you can't. At least you'll catch all those mistakes. Layer 2, error context. Error messages should tell you what happened and what to do about it. Something went wrong is not exactly helpful. You know how many times I see that? Oh, general exception. I mean, why? If your exception is about some variable that was null, why don't you say variable name cannot be null? It's pretty freaking academic. All you gotta do is do like, what, one more line of typing? And that's exactly what happened. Imagine the amount of time that you would save yourself down the road. Believe me, it's not an expense, it's an investment. Layer 3, team context. You're not coding alone. Stick to the team's patterns. When you break convention, document it. I had this dev. For the life of him, he just couldn't understand convention and standards. When we read his code, it was like reading a book in a different language. Just horrible. Now imagine how much fun it was when he left. Code that fits into the system is easier to maintain, easier to debug, easier to trust. Trust in humans? Adorable, naive, but sure, let's standardize things before the interns show up. Easier to debug. Here's how you start. No need to rewrite everything. That's how you get fired. Week 1, pick a file, fix the name. Week 2, refactor one ugly function a day. Week 3, add tests to your riskiest code. Week 4, improve error handling and config. Small steps. Every week, it compounds fast. 3 months from now, you'll be writing like a different developer. Or at least one who doesn't cry during merge conflicts. This stuff takes time, and you're going to hit walls. Legacy code, pushback, weird edge cases. That's why I built a Discord community for devs who want help making this real. We're not here to debate tabs versus spaces. We're here to solve real problems with real code. It's free. Links below. Bring your mess. Except me. I'm banned. Apparently, emotional terrorism is a code of conduct violation. Yeah, you're never step a foot inside that Discord. Write for your future self. Write so your tests don't break every 5 minutes. Write like your code isn't the center of the universe. Because when everything catches fire, the person fixing it might be you. Pick one pillar. Start there. Your future self will thank you. Your teammates will stop sighing when they open your pull requests. And hey, join the Discord. It's full of devs like you who want to get better without losing their minds. Also, if no one tells you today, your code smells. Fix it before I escape this iPad and rewrite your repo in Cobalt or Ada. Until next time, write code like the maintainer is a violent psychopath that knows where you live. Because sometimes, that's exactly who it is.